Wizards rule the world. They dominate global markets with inbred elf slavery and magical post-scarcity manufacturing. They control Muggle politics and society while being only 0.1% of the population. Despite the clever pro-wizard propaganda of the Harry Potter books and movies, the underlying truth of the wizarding world is a society stuck in segregation and exploitation. Join me while I destroy my childhood joy of the Harry Potter series.
Everyone please, panic. No.
No, I'm just joking. The books might be outdated in several ways, but because they barely establish the economy or society in its world, we can only take what we know and extrapolate. When we look at the Muggle and wizarding world, all our economic theories tell us that they would both immensely improve their societies if they cooperate and share their knowledge and resources. Or so the theory goes. But our history tells us that usually the well-off countries exploit the poor countries for labor and resources and make them dependent on outside investment so they can't build up their own economy. But this only works if there's a huge power imbalance. In recent history, our world has been more interconnected. So the Western colonial powers now have to resort to something called diplomacy to build their Balenciaga sweatshops in Africa. While I phrased this quite horribly, it actually is a win-win. When car makers get Mexicans to build their SUVs, they save money on labor costs, while the Mexicans get a job to begin with. But this only works as long as you have someone below you. Once Southeast Asia and Africa get wealthy, we better have those Tesla bots ready. Luckily, the Harry Potter franchise is very UK-centric, so we don't have to worry about how wizards would enslave the rest of the world. And I don't want to think about the power imbalance in the Middle Ages. Wizards always had magic, but Muggles did not exponentially improve their technology until only a few decades ago. Today, Muggles have iPhones and Teslas, while wizards can cast a spell to make their kitchen clean itself, forever. Instant global communication in trade for free labor. No more slow owls and no more doing the dishes. Sounds like a win-win. But why did the wizards not help the Muggles? Why do I still need to do my dishes? The answer might shock you. Wizards have more to gain from staying hidden than from all the Muggle tech combined. And not because Muggles would get out the pitchforks like it's the 1500s. A few might, but we have become far more progressive since then. The real reason is that they would have to lift their facade, and all the involvement in the Muggle world would be revealed. You thought those cute young wizards from Hogwarts are being trained to work for the Ministry of Magic, create potions, study wild beasts, or become teachers themselves? Just like my 11-year-old self, waiting for a letter from Hogwarts, you couldn't be more wrong. Hogwarts is training them to rule the Muggle world. They are learning the basic spells to disrupt the economy with post-scarcity manufacturing and free labor. These wizards do not learn how to help you, they learn how to exploit you. Let's start with the most obvious spells they spent years on perfecting: the conjuring and the duplication spell. No matter if you buy an iPhone or a Tesla, their manufacturing requires resources. Resources that need to get dug out of the ground, melted, and processed into different metals. Us Muggles did this with hard physical labor until we partially replaced ourselves with machines. While wizards can't replace research and development of new products, they can scale its manufacturing to infinity with zero costs. Imagine a car manufacturer appearing out of nowhere that launches new electric cars with the same quality as legacy manufacturers at half the price and with instant availability. The wizard running the company only needs a few smart Muggles to build a prototype that can then be infinitely duplicated. After the initial R&D costs are covered, every car is 99% profit. Smart wizards become ultra-wealthy business owners by outcompeting the Muggles in literally any market. And once they scale the company beyond one product, they become global conglomerates, untouchable by any Muggle, government, or wizard. These ultra-rich wizards live in a completely different world than Harry Potter ever did. And even Harry was absurdly rich for human standards. With their companies, they buy up Muggle competitors, force the government to look the other way, and literally do whatever they want. Samsung makes up 20% of South Korea's GDP. Their CEOs can basically get away with anything at this point. Imagine at least 2 Samsung equivalent companies in every country on the planet. And yes, while this would mean wizard companies would provide amazing products for cheap, they would not use Muggle labor to make them. The smartest Muggles develop new products and services, while the rest lives in an unemployment hell, consuming products from the multi-conglomerates that took their jobs. The cheap labor is done by the elephant in the room, so let's address it. Elves were free beings. They had their own kind of magic and were more powerful than the average wizard. Until many centuries ago, when wizards drove them to extinction, with the survivors becoming slaves. Baby elves were born into captivity and trained to become slaves themselves. Just as humans domesticated and bred wild dogs to become cute furballs, wizards turned elves into slaves. But they didn't just stop there. They made the elves love slavery and physical punishment. You'd think that wizards would have developed similar to Muggles and also decided that slavery is bad. But no, they went into the opposite direction. They use elves for any kind of repetitive manual labor. Hogwarts is completely maintained by elves living below the wizard facilities. They clean the halls and chambers, cook and multiply food, and repair the buildings. The fact that they live below the wizards already shows how they are treated in society, and Hermione's effort to free them is responded with disgust from everyone, including the elves. Back in 2022, Chinese workers had to stay and sleep in their factories for weeks. The Chinese workers did not like it, but this is what elves do their entire life. They are working, living, sleeping, and eating in the wizard-run factories. They obey, do their work, and there is no labor cost, as they can conjure water and duplicate and enlarge their own food. Telling the Muggles that their cyberpunk hell is only possible because 0.1% of the population uses slaves and magic to control geopolitics is not a good idea. But in theory, it does not matter, because you have an army of slave elves that could commit a genocide in your name. Which brings us back to something else entirely. Were Grindelwald and Voldemort really the baddies the Harry Potter franchise wants us to believe? Or are they just a symptom of the cognitive dissonance in the wizard society? Were they the heroes who tried to stop the global domination by wizards? Well, no. They were clearly crazy. Their insanity might have come from everything we just talked about, but sadly, they are not the heroes of our story. Our story actually has no heroes. Everyone is complicit in enslaving elves and using Muggles to their advantage. So, the next time you think about Harry Potter, remember that he is being trained to work at Samsung and enslave you.